Hi there. Today, you will not only learn how to use a boring technique to make your conversations more interesting, but you'll also discover how it enables you to deepen your connections with people faster and gather information about them that helps you understand them better and helps make your conversation even more interesting because you're gathering information. The other thing is that people using this technique that we're talking about today will make other people feel good in the conversation as well. It's also useful in terms of solving problems for your customers and clients. So we can use this in our personal lives and our professional lives. I am here today. Welcome to the I'm Not Doing That podcast. This is a weekly conversation about burnout and boundaries and finding alignment, both in your personal life and your professional life. I am Annie Kipp. I'm an executive coach. I work with leaders who have reached a certain level of mastery and success, and they are aware that maybe they're getting in their own way at this point and need some help articulating their value and speaking up sometimes, and they need a thought partner, someone who can help strategize with them about what next steps to take and how to handle the various situations that come up at work. And I am here with my dear friend and colleague, Dana. We've known each other for a while, and we're just going to have a conversation today about this technique, which is something that we use in coaching that we're going to teach you about so you can use it in your lives. Dana, tell us about yourself. Go ahead.
Hi, everybody. I'm Dana. I'm a certified professional coach. I work with purpose-driven humans who are making big changes in their business, making alignment in their lives, working with burnout, or just simply wanting more for themselves. Annie just reminded me of a term that one of my clients called me, which was like her ghost business partner. A thought partner is also true, but like she didn't let anybody know that she was working with me. Yeah. And, she would come to weekly meetings and we would partner in her business. So I love that.
I think that's true for a lot of people who are very successful. They don't necessarily want to talk about how they are doing. They don't want to show people how the sausage is made. They need somebody who is confidential and smart to help them be their best person and think through things in a really strategic way.
So, I agree. I think it's really true.
I love that. Yeah. So let's dive into this. This is a technique that is the core of coaching. So we're going to be sharing some of the things that we do in coaching that help us be good coaches. And I guess I want to explain it to people together with you, and then talk about how to actually use it. And I want to acknowledge also, it sounds boring. It sounds like a super boring thing to do, to ask open-ended questions of people, but it actually makes things more interesting. So go ahead. Why don't you explain what this is, from the coaching perspective?
I mean, from a coaching perspective, the open-ended question is called powerful questions often. Mm-hmm. And my experience of them is like, I really actually in training struggled with it. I would constantly ask yes or no questions. But in some ways, if you boil it down, any question that is not a yes or no question can be a powerful question. So like a good way to start is any question that starts with what. So what makes you feel anxious? What makes you feel courageous? What makes you feel powerful? Like those are very simple questions, but also they very much open the conversation to the person, to any human being you're wanting to talk.
Yeah, there was something about it. The way of asking questions this way doesn't trigger a black and white sort of way of thinking. It opens up a more creative part of their brain, and they have to kind of go to sort of a picture of what something is. Mm-hmm. And so when you say, what is that like for you? They are then kind of thinking through that in a totally different way than they would if we said, how does that feel? Yeah. If you ask someone that question, it can really flummox people, and it's counterintuitive. You would think coaches are always asking, how does that feel? But what we're really doing is trying to help them access their own inner resources. And so asking these open-ended questions make them do this inner work in their brain. And the brain is like going through all the files to find the thing that matches that, and the way to answer that question based on its like files of information, and make some connections.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I mean, this can be used, it's obviously used in coaching, but like this can be used when you're like meeting new people, when you're feeling anxious. Maybe you have a couple of these questions kind of in your pocket that you usually ask.
Yeah.
I think these questions easily impress others because it shows that you're actually curious. You will hook all kinds of new friends and colleagues who are into small talk. If you're asking these questions, like they can be used in all different scenarios.
Yeah.
Which I love.
I do too. I think it really makes people feel seen and heard. And we're not doing it in a manipulative way. We're doing it out of curiosity, you know? Like, I really do want a deeper answer than work's fine, you know? Like, what are you excited about at work these days is a much more interesting question, and you get a much more interesting response than you would if you said, how's work, you know?
Yes.
And if the other part of this is you're asking this open-ended question and then following it up, instead of assuming you know what someone means with what they're saying. So what's work like for you? Oh, it's like a train wreck lately. And you go, oh yeah, that's tough. Instead, what's that train look like? What does the train wreck look like for you? And that gets them to explain more about what they're experiencing. So you have more information to talk about with them, and they feel seen and heard from that kind of a question. And, you know, I want to emphasize it's not manipulation, but if you want to have a rapport with someone and you want to make them feel that you do like them, if you do like them, this is the way to do it. And people feel more at home with people that they feel like them.
Yeah, I would say it's not manipulation. I think the assumption here is that we're talking to people who authentically want to show up in conversation in this way and are authentically curious about whoever it is that they want to talk to.
Yes.
And also, I will say, like, asking these types of questions to customers or potential clients really is a way of displaying the way that you care and how you do business. And so you might land more clients and customers because of it.
Sorry, go ahead.
But it comes from authenticity.
Yes. It's genuine curiosity that is driving this. I also was going to say, as far as customers and clients go, you will gather more information to be able to serve them better if you're asking these kinds of questions and listening for their answers and not making presumptions that you both are speaking the same language here, that you know exactly what they mean by train wreck or things are tough or whatever their answer is. You can do this, like drill down over and over again. And it's surprising that it doesn't feel invasive for the other person. You're just holding space and listening to what they have to say. And it's respectful in a lot of ways, just to assume I don't know what you mean and asking, what do you mean?
Yeah, I mean, if you're talking to a potential client or a customer and you're asking them about their business, what they're struggling with, what solutions they need, then you get to learn more about whether they're a good fit for you. And you can get them to talk about what's really going on. If you walk into a room, I perceive this anyway, walking into a room and saying, here's what I can do for you, is really you assuming what the actual issue is. And often the actual issue is under the train wreck, right?
Yes.
Like, how fast is that train going?
Yes.
When the train makes impact, what issue is it hitting? Hitting it. Tell me more about that. Like, you get to learn more about the person. And their business.
And there's a parallel there as well with coaching, is that sometimes people don't really know what their answer is. They don't know what is underneath. What is the need underneath something? What is really bothering them about something, or what is making them happy about something? And so giving them the chance to answer this question in a fuller way helps them get clear on what's true for them as well. And that's what we do in coaching, is like, I don't presume to know what my client is experiencing and what the answers are going to be. And I love when I get an answer I never saw coming, like, wow, that's definitely something I could not have presumed. And I'm so glad I didn't like cut off the conversation too soon, so that I would have missed that.
Mm-hmm. So true. So
Yeah.
true. And often, and I'm sure this is true for you, Annie, with your clients too, but for me, it's often true that they show up and say, I feel more drained than energized in my business. When I first started my business, I loved it. It energized me. I would show up at home happy. I would, these things, and they're like, they don't know exactly why. And so it actually requires those questions to get to the place to find out where the work belongs. Right.
Yes.
Yes. And also now I feel like we're deep in the coaching realm, but it's true in personal conversations.
Yeah. I mean, it's surprising how many people are just settle with, I don't know what's bothering me. And as if maybe it'll go away someday or something. Like,
it's so true.
And I do have a client who uses that phrase so frequently, and she's like, I don't know. And so I'll just say, what do you know? What is true? What are we working with? And that it has to start somewhere, because we do know something. I do know I'm sitting in this chair, and I do know it feels good to be talking to you right now. Okay, we've got that. What do I like about it? And, what's it like for me? And that helps us uncover the details of what works in our lives and what doesn't work in our lives.
Yeah.
And I always say this, but you can do this in your journal for yourself. You can ask yourself questions. Sometimes I'll tell a client to use a pen for the question and a pencil for the answer. And you can ask yourself, what's work like for you right now? And when you give your answer, you can say, what's that like? And what's that like? And, or how do you know it is that way? Like, these questions that help kind of open up, I know because I'm anxious when I think about it. What's that like for you?
Yeah.
So we can do this for ourselves, or you could do it in coaching.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, you do it for yourself. You can do it in coaching, and you can do it in casual conversation.
Yes.
You can do it in relationship. Like, I can't tell you how often I'm like, I mean, mostly I will say to my partner, tell me more about that, because I don't want to presume or assume to know what she's exactly talking about.
Yes.
And we're in the place where she can also push back and be like, I'm not.
Yeah.
Just trust that people know where their boundaries are.
Yeah, I think that's important too.
You start to feel like, oh, this question, it's starting to feel intrusive. Which, as a person who comes from a background I come from, any questions is intrusive in my family. Like, both sides of my family are from the Midwest. So I just come from this place of like, you're like, yep. No question. Like, every question feels like a real invasion of privacy.
Yeah.
I've had to very much bust through that.
Yeah. And so I'll ask you, what's it like for you that you have to answer these questions now? Does it feel good? Or like, I should say, what's it like for you?
I mean, sometimes it depends on the, bandwidths and energy, but I will say it's taken decades of practicing answering questions and telling myself, oh, these people aren't trying to like hurt me by asking me how I'm doing. These people actually care about me. They love me, or I've hired this person to ask these questions, because I want to get to the bottom of them.
Yeah.
And so now I actually, if people ask me questions that make me think that is beyond yes or no, or I'm fine, I can feel that in my body as like, oh, care and love, like
Yeah.
care and
Okay,
love,
good.
even from a stranger, right?
Yeah.
But it takes practice. I think I've said that every time we have met and had these conversations. I have said, practice, 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 build the muscle,
Yeah.
and so you have to start somewhere.
Right.
I
Right.
can't imagine what my life would be like if I continued to avoid asking people questions / taking any question coming at me as a personal offense. Like, I'd be so isolated,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. That's the bottom line. It's more connective. And
Mhm.
especially in a settled relationship, I feel like we develop shorthand and we think we know what each other is thinking, and we sort of, have had enough experiences that we think we know the person and what their
Mhm.
reactions mean, and how rejuvenating to a connection it is when you actually treat that person like someone you don't know. You don't know everything, and the truth is you don't. They're a separate person, even though you've spent a lot of time together. This is still another human that you don't know what's in their brain. We're all rattling around ourselves in our own brain.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, please, I think I know it all often.
We all.
And over again, I'm proven wrong. So
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
keep asking questions.
Yeah.
Being
So I would say
curious.
it's one of the most kind and generous things you can do that also makes the conversation easier for you,
Mhm.
because you don't have to know the answers. You don't have to read their signals. You can just ask. It is both easier and more connective
Yeah.
in so many, on
And
so
I think
many
we started off by saying boring, but the truth really is like maybe it's a boring suggestion, but it is not a boring scenario. In
No,
practice, it is not boring at all.
I agree with you. It sounds like it's boring because you're not sort of driving it with your presumptions.
Yeah.
You're sitting back and listening. But that can be one of the most interesting things, especially if you have a partner or have that exchange that you do that for each other.
Mm-hmm.
It can really build something
Mm-hmm.
beautiful where each person gets to feel like an individual who is seen and heard and appreciated and respected. I don't know, it's a great way to build a relationship with someone.
Yeah. It really is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else you want to say about this?
Well, I want to review a little bit of like some of the things that we have said, which is like, it's sometimes counterintuitive to ask an open-ended question. Sometimes it's hard to find an open-ended question. Remember that they often start with what,
Yes. Yes.
And if you get to a place where you like don't know what to ask, you say, tell me a little more about that.
Good suggestion. Really good.
Tell me more about the train wreck. Tell me more about the stuckness.
Yeah. That's a really good hint. The start with what or tell me more. Those are people can remember that. That's great.
And while it's boring or feels like a basic suggestion, it's something that people do not do, and it will lead to more connection and caring.
Yeah.
And that's what we all need right now.
We all want to need.
Always, really, but
yeah. Awesome.
What about you, Annie? Do you have anything else to say?
Just that it's freeing to me, because I think if I get anxious in a conversation, maybe with someone I don't know, or usually with someone I don't know, if I feel anxious, I remember I don't have to perform here. I can just be genuinely curious about them. Yeah. And it usually goes well. It usually leads to a real feeling of connection with this new person.
Yeah.
People end up telling me a lot of stuff because I'm just true. Which is really interesting, not boring at all.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
prepare yourself for more connection.
Yeah, exactly. In a world where a lot of people feel disconnected, this is a really simple way to build some connection with people and maybe find a new friend, maybe find a common interest. Who knows? But even those little moments of connection with a stranger can be like just, you're at something and you're just talking to the people around you. It can be very gratifying just to even have that human interaction that feels good with somebody, even if it's not forever, even if you never see them again. You've made someone feel seen and heard. You've gotten interesting information. I don't know.
You've exchanged energy.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's energizing in
Yeah.
most cases. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Mm.
I would love to know in the comments, like, what are your favorite? If you're already asking these types of questions, what are your favorites?
Yeah.
And if you're not asking these questions, what are the ideas? What are the questions you want to be asking?
Yes. I would love to hear that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like, what questions would you like to be asked? If we can think
No
about
kidding.
that.
Yes.
Like, what do you wish people would ask you?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'll look forward to seeing that. And we'll come back and do this again soon.
Where can people find you, Annie?
I am Annie Kipp with 1P at anniekipp.com. And that's where everything about me lives. How about you?
I am Dana Clark, and you can find out lots of things about me at loveyourlife.co.
Perfect. All right. Thanks for visiting, Dana. This was great.
Thanks.
All right.
See you
Talk to you
later.
soon. Bye.